What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm back with a video, this time once again, we're going to talk about the NBA and its upcoming season. And recently a hot button issue is some NBA stars are opting out of the vaccine for the 2022 season. One of those stars is Mr. Kyrie Irving. And if you are a casual NBA fan, I'm sure you know Kyrie is a tremendous player, he has amazing handles, and his finishing ability is second to none. You may also know him from some viral clips where he had some pretty outlandish statements concerning the Earth and it being flat.
When I started actually doing research on my own and figuring out that there is no real picture of Earth, like there's not one picture of Earth, and we haven't been back to the moon.
Now looking past that, Kyrie is also very charitable and gives back to his community in various ways. So Kyrie as a basketball player is a tremendous talent, that's undeniable. And as a human being, from what I can tell, Kyrie is a very, very solid person. Now before I dive into the video's main topic, I want to say first off, I am not a doctor, and I'm not prescribing any treatment or any methods to combat COVID. But what I will talk about is NBA's vaccine policy and how it affects players like Kyrie Irving. And really for the most part this story kind of blew up last week, but fast forward to this week, and NBA games are finally back, and Kyrie Irving is not on the court. Which leads many to wonder, could Kyrie Irving miss the entire season and not play as an unvaccinated player? And from what I can tell, Kyrie, if he's still unvaccinated, he could play 41 games this year, all on the road, none of those being in New York. That is the NBA's policy, and that is their rules. As a private company, they have the right to do that for their players as well as their employees. I don't agree with all their rules, some of them are kind of stupid. For example, an unvaccinated player from Texas can play in New York where vaccines are mandatory, and how he does that is by getting an exemption that is not available to the home team, that being the Brooklyn Nets. Now that right there is pretty interesting, but I think the real story is the reaction to Kyrie not being vaccinated and the criticism he got from the media, fans, as well as some players. I saw tons of comments saying Kyrie was selfish, he was ignorant, they should trade him, and he was an idiot for not getting the vaccine. And of course, as always, you can have your opinion on Kyrie Irving without being negative or positive. But I think those comments were a little bit out of bounds and took it a little bit too far. And the one thing I find a lot is that NBA fans, they can switch on a dime for a player and the narrative can switch in a second. Kyrie, for the most part, he was hated, but for the past 2 years has been loved in Brooklyn. And it only takes one decision or even one statement for NBA fans to flip. That doesn't apply to just Kyrie, that applies to any superstar in the NBA. NBA fans as a whole are very temperamental, they overreact, and they're basically 5-year-olds screaming and crying on social media. And let me be very clear, Kyrie not getting the vaccine doesn't make me dislike him or like him anymore. In my own personal view, he can do what he wants for his body as well as his family. And from an overall standpoint of debating someone and trying to convince someone, when you castigate them and cast them out into the abyss, that only pushes them further away and makes them more stubborn. If you want to convince someone, at least be polite, be informative, and be thorough with your argument. So once again, Kyrie Irving has his right, he can do what he wants. And I don't think NBA fans, former players, or media members should castigate Kyrie Irving and dismiss him. I think the perfect response is what Steph Curry said about Andrew Wiggins.
I mean, you can ask everybody on the team, we're going to have 18 different ways of explaining, personal decision, the sense of urgency of the decision, understanding what the potential consequences and fallout, is. At the end of the day, it is up to him. I think there's no secret to that point. We obviously.
In that little video clip, Steph, he was pretty savvy and he chose his words wisely. He didn't throw his teammate under the bus or call him out for not being vaccinated. That move from Steph was pretty classy, and that's the way you should do it when dealing with unvaccinated players. And to contrast that, how you don't go about this is being like Kareem and saying those players should be kicked out of the NBA. I think that comment for a former NBA player is pretty tone deaf and very out of bounds. Once again, you can be pro-science and pro-vaccine, but I think what he said was a step too far, even if he had good intentions. Now for the final part of this video, what do you guys think Kyrie Irving will ultimately do? If history tells us anything, Kyrie Irving, he can be very stuck in his ways, he's not afraid to be outspoken, the lone member on a single island. Look back to the NBA bubble, he was the only player who objected to a restart. That was Kyrie Irving versus the entire NBA. And once again, we're back in that same position this time the COVID vaccine. And I don't want to be hyperbolic, but if worse comes to worse, Kyrie Irving, in my own personal view, he's the one player in the NBA who would call it quits and flat out retire. Yes, I do think Kyrie Irving, he is that dude who'll be so stuck in his ways, he would actually retire. And only 3 years ago in 2018, Kyrie is on the record as saying he wants to retire in his mid-30s. Right now, he's 29, and it's not totally insane he would call it quits before he turns 30. But if I had to guess, come playoff time, he'll be vaccinated and playing in Brooklyn. And also, one thing I do want to highlight is LeBron James, the overall face of the NBA, had very similar comments to Steph Curry when it came to the vaccine. LeBron, in summary, said NBA players should make their own decision and their personal choice. They shouldn't be forced. There should be no mandate with the vaccine. I think for the most part, that statement is pretty rational and pretty level-headed for 2021. And really quick, I want to say Kyrie Irving, he's polarizing, he's controversial, he said crazy things in the past, he had trouble with teammates as well as coaches, but when it comes down to this issue, Kyrie Irving making his own personal decision and what's best for him. So that right there is my overall thoughts on the Kyrie Irving situation versus the NBA vaccine. Like I said before, Kyrie Irving, he's an individual and can make his own choice. I'm not a doctor, and I'm not telling him what to do. And please in the comments be respectful and be mindful of people's positions and their overall takes. So as always, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time.